Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday, August the 2nd. We do have 14 additional deaths that, we surely need to honor, respect in every way. But the 7,150th death is a 66-year-old female from Gilmore County. The 7,151st death is a 70-year-old male from Lewis County. The 7,152nd death is an 89-year-old male from Cabell County. The 7,153rd death is an 82-year-old male from Braxton County. The 7,154th death is a 57-year-old female from Grant County. The 7,155th death is an 86-year-old female from Monongalia County. The 7,156th death is a 94-year-old male from Ohio County. The 7,157th death is an 80-year-old male from Harrison County. The 7,158th death is a 70-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 7,159th death is a 67-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 7,160th death is a 74-year-old male from Wetzel County. The 7,161st death is an 83-year-old male from Cabell County. The 7,162nd death is an 81-year-old male from Ohio County. And the 7,163rd death in West Virginia is an 88-year-old female from Brooke County. I say it over and over and over. 7,163 people we've lost in West Virginia. Could have been a lot worse. You've really done good, West Virginia, you really have. But I ask you, if you know these people, to call them, for crying out loud, to reach out. And if you don't, reach out in prayer. In some way, somehow, they'll know it. They can't feel alone. Active cases are 3,111. New positive cases the last 24 hours are 929. We didn't test a lot, but our positivity daily rate is 16.41. Cumulative is at 8.33. 548,026 people have recovered from COVID, 324 in the hospitals, 48 that are on ICU units, and 16 on ventilators. Most of the map is yellow and green, one county in the gold, and that's Boone County. I remind you 1,000 million times about your booster shots. You heard me just read through right here 14 more names. The youngest was 57. I think we had 2 other people in their 60s. For crying out loud, if you happen to be 50 and older and you're not getting your booster shot, you're making a big mistake. If you're absolutely 60 and older or 70 and older, absolutely, it's completely silly. It doesn't make any sense at all if you're vaccinated that you don't have your booster shot. Because if you're out the time period and everything, and you need that booster shot, your immunity is almost nothing. The likelihood of you getting this is really high. Really, really high. There's nothing that can be any more important than this. There's no way. You got to get that booster shot. The numbers just continue to crawl up and everything. Now we're at 91.6 as 65 and older, and that's, that's good. It's good. But really and truly, we still need to continue with our boosters and everything and get them on up. 65 and older on our booster shots is 82.2, and we're at 91.6 that have had at least one shot, or that are fully vaccinated. That with at least one shot. So absolutely, we've got to get that booster shot on up. The vaccine calculator, all the information's up there on our website, and everything about how you can register, and it'll remind you when you can get your shots. Any of the other info on COVID is up on our website. 94 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities, none in the church communities, 70 inmates, and 48 staff cases in corrections. I remind you over and over about the rental assistance program. Absolutely, if you're a renter or a landlord, please call us. If you think that you can qualify for any of these dollars, please call us, and let's see if we can give you a chance to get qualified, or get you qualified rather. The homeowner assistance program, same thing, exact same thing. I remind you over and over about giving blood. Every time I come on, I remind you about that because the Red Cross needs it. We need you. Absolutely check with your physicians, and if you get to go ahead and everything, think hard about it because we could sure use you. Yesterday we did a couple, 2 or 3 different things, and we did another groundbreaking on the Coalfield Expressway. It really and truly, when it really boils right down to it, is the bridge that brings southern West Virginia online with everybody. Right here on this site, this is hard to imagine, but probably 30 years ago, that site got leveled by the our company, Bluestone. Bluestone did the work to level that where there's a prison and everything there, and I don't say that to take credit. I say that to tell you just a little story. There were some individuals that came, and they came with a story. They came with an idea and a hope. They came with a hope, in McDowell County and everything. I thought it was completely crazy for a long time. Then it ended up in a bid process and everything, and we bid really, really low. The next closest bidder to us was $20 million in the difference. Nevertheless, we started and did the work. They believed that absolutely they could get a federal prison there. I thought, this is crazy, but really and truly, they believed. And then a lot of people just kept digging and working and everything, and lo and behold, the prison came. And then the same belief, 30 years ago plus, the Coalfield Expressway was born, and then it just stalled, didn't it? It went nowhere. Well, I'm a real believer that quarter H is first and foremost. But second is the Coalfield Expressway. And with all of that, we're doing it now. Absolutely, we're doing it. And I can proudly say that in my administration, we got this thing really rocking. And we want to absolutely try everything in us to finish it. These people deserve it. They have given so much. I mean, you just think about the good people of Southern West Virginia that fueled us in World War II, World War I, World War II, absolutely in every way, from the standpoint of our steel making to everything. We can't just walk off and leave them, and absolutely I am really, really pleased with what's going on there. And Jimmy Riston is doing an incredible job as our Secretary of Transportation, and I thank him and all the people there and everything. It was a really good day. After we left there, we went to the Welsh Community Hospital, and there was really some really neat and great work going on right there. Dr. Brick from WVU was with us, and Dr. Brick and he had 4 different doctor colleagues, all from the neurology department. They basically what is happening in rural hospitals is WVU is partnering with these hospitals and doing telestroke medicine, which will save lives beyond belief. And it's really, really great stuff and everything. And actually, when I went inside, I left Baby Dog in the car, and I told him, I told everybody, I said, listen, it's just hard to get her in here and all that kind of stuff, the steps and all that. And so y'all just going to have to do without Baby Dog today. And to be perfectly honest, they looked at me like, you got to be crazy, really and truly. All we came to see was Baby Dog. So I got her in there, but she makes everybody smile. I'll promise you that. I didn't see that picture there, but she does make everybody smile. But nevertheless, great work, great work. By Dr. Brick and all the great people at WVU and all the WVU medicine. It's just amazing. Now get this, even though Morgantown is 221 miles away by car, the incredible stroke specialists at WVU medicine will be able to treat patients in McDowell County, just boom. It's great stuff, good stuff, saves lives, and it's great work. And I'll tell you this too, that hospital was spotless. When I went in there and everything, I didn't go through the whole hospital, but where I went and everything, it was absolutely in beautiful, pristine shape. The workers there and everything, whether they be the docs or the nurses or custodians or whatever it may be, they're really proud of what the work that they were doing, and I just couldn't be more happy for them. We left there and we went to Baysden, which is right down below Gilbert. Now, we went there, and those folks are really hurting right now. I've seen it in every dimension. We've had big time rain in a short period of time, and our mountains and our streams just couldn't handle it. And so all of a sudden you have devastation. Thank God, at least there, I don't think there was any loss of life, but there's absolutely devastation. And we need to remember and try with all in us to not just walk away. Not walk away, and I told the folks there, we don't want to put a Band-Aid on cancer. I sat right there and listened to all their issues, all their problems that they have going on, all their solutions, because at the end of the day, those are the folks, not necessarily us in Charleston. Those are the folks that know what needs to be done, right there. And so with all that, I love being with the people, because I think the people tell us the answers to everything. Absolutely, to believe that you can just sit down here and run this whole thing and not know what's going on out there, absolutely is no way on God's earth that you can do it. But those people were great. And a lot of governors may feel really uncomfortable to sit with a lot of people that have had some level of disaster and everything, and they may get criticized or they may get yelled at or whatever it may be. I absolutely welcome it in every way, because those people were great to me, because they know I'll do everything in my power that I tell them I'm going to do. You see, I'm not a politician. I don't want to be that. I told them this yesterday. I can't promise that I'll absolutely be able to solve all their problems, but I'll try with all in me, and I will. And so for those folks and everything, they're just hardworking, great West Virginians, and I loved being with them, but they're going through a really tough time. And just remember that for all the people across all of our lands here, because these waters and these floods, especially this time of year, well, any time of year, are really tough. Now, another thing I've got to tell you is what's going on over in Kentucky is another even dimension. I don't know how it gets worse, but it has a way of getting worse. Those people there yesterday were really blessed that we don't have loss of life. But still, it is devastation beyond belief. In Kentucky, we have even a magnitude even greater than the 2016 flood, where we lost 23 folks and everything, and I think that's right. I'll never forget it. I mean, I helped them. I waded mud and took food to people and water. I don't need patted on the back in any way, but we embraced and took everybody in that we could take in and everything in every way. Greenbrier opened its doors. We tried to do everything we could possibly do. As long as I live, as long as Jim Justice lives, he'll never forget us finding 3 bodies on the golf courses at the Greenbrier. And more so than that, we looked for 6 weeks for a 14-year-old kid, a beautiful young girl that washed miles and miles down the stream before we found her. It's unbelievable, and this kind of tragedy is off the chart. Right now in Kentucky, I think they've lost 38 people, and there's still hundreds supposedly that are missing. The thing that, Andy Beshear, the governor over in Kentucky, called and said, is there any way you can help? Do you have helicopters or anything you can do? Any way you can help? I think in the beginning we instantly sent 4 helicopters. Andy told me the other night He said, you can't believe it, but your people, without any question, have saved 40 plus people's lives. This update that I have here says that we flew 59.9 hours. We rescued several people's lives and everything, and additionally 3 pets. I think there was, we sent 2 Black Hawk helicopters and 2 Lakota aircraft with hoist capability and fully operational crews of 14 soldiers to support them and everything, and to support the Kentucky National Guard. And I guess that's 2, maybe a mom and a little girl right there that we rescued. But honest to Pete, I love it when people jump in and try to help each other. I mean, that's all there is to it. When neighbors really love one another, it's a powerful, powerful, powerful symbol of America. That's absolutely us. That's exactly what we should do. So thank you so much to all those at our Guard, and let's keep everybody in our prayers. All those at Basin, all those absolutely, whether it be in Logan or wherever the flooding has been, absolutely all those in Kentucky. And without any question, all the great people that we've lost in regard to this terrible pandemic killer. Last thing I got to report is really good stuff. It sounds like a broken record, but when you got it going and you got it going in the right direction, you got a lot of good stuff to report. In the month of July, we just took off with the first month of the new year. June 30th ended last year and everything with a $1.3 billion surplus. Unbelievable, beyond anybody's wildest dreams. But with all that, we just started July off with a $92.4 million surplus for July. So, this thing's not slowing down. And I told you over and over I was going to take you on a rocket ship ride, and you're on it. You're on it, brother. That's all there is to it. And it's going. And we're not going to slow down until we flip every rock and try to help everybody we can possibly help. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Well, good morning. As the governor has said, we still see the impact of the Omicron BA.5 variant in West Virginia. Our hospitalizations are still around 330 to 340. We know in the country we saw 600 deaths yesterday from COVID-19, which is more than a full 747 airline. And we also are learning some more important points, particularly about the BA.5 variant and Omicron. So as we look at the impact of reinfection from the BA.5 variant or other forms of COVID-19, we are now starting to track that the more times you've been infected with COVID-19, let's say you've had 2 infections or 3 infections or even more, the more likely you will be to have long COVID and also to suffer some more important limitations as far as the impact on the vital organs in your body, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, etc. And so that is really another important reason to be up to date on vaccinations, because we know that people who are up to date with their vaccinations have between a 10 and a 50% reduction in the risk of long COVID and a protection against organ injury. We're also finding out that the more severe the illness with COVID-19, the more likely people will suffer both long COVID symptoms and also injuries to vital organs. And we also know that up-to-date vaccination is our best treatment and prevention approach against severe manifestations of COVID-19. We are seeing nationally an increased number of cases of COVID-19 that do require hospitalization in children, and that may well be because of the really highly infectious nature of the BA.5 variant, but also because of relatively lower vaccination rates in children than we see in older adults. And therefore, that's a really important reason to get your children, if you do have children or grandchildren, up to date with their vaccinations as well. We saw that President Biden had a initially negative test for COVID-19 and then retested positive. And that's really brought up this issue of rebound phenomena. He did take Paxlovid, and so let me just talk briefly about what we know about the rebound phenomena that happens with Paxlovid in a very few number of people, or sometimes even without Paxlovid. So the viruses that infects people, particularly the BA.5 variant, has a very unique ability to avoid the immune system and to multiply in people's bodies. So our own immunity from vaccines and previous infection gives us the opportunity to keep that virus from spreading massively and making you really sick, which is what we saw earlier in the pandemic. But we know that the virus, particularly the BA.5 variant, which is now the dominant variant in the country and in West Virginia, is able to escape the immune system. So using Paxlovid is a drug that causes the virus to not be able to multiply very well, to keep it in lower concentrations as the body tries to clear it. But in some people, that suppression of the virus, keeping it from replicating, is not quite done at the time that the Paxlovid's finished, which is a 5-day course. And so some people can rebound, get more symptoms, and have the virus multiply and go from a negative test after initial treatment to a positive test, which is what President Biden did. And although it's not clear what is the number of people that can see that, and some people get that rebound even without Paxlovid, but the reports in the literature are somewhere between a 1% and a 20% incidence of this rebound phenomenon. But it's really important that studying people that have had this, that the virus looks like it still is equally as susceptible to treatment, but the treatment in some people may not be long enough. So at least some folks are advocating for perhaps a longer treatment or perhaps a second treatment with the drug, which is what Dr. Fauci had. And ultimately, that seems to make things better. In the absence of new symptoms, CDC would say you just monitor people and you don't really have to retreat them. But that's an important finding because the virus hasn't mutated so that the drug doesn't work anymore. It looks like that the virus just might need a longer course of treatment. The last thing is that the White House had talked initially about perhaps opening up eligibility for a 4th dose of vaccine to all adults, because we have an expiring group of vaccines that are sometimes not utilized in the way that they could be. But because of a variety of reasons, apparently the White House has decided against that with the FDA and the CDC, and instead are really going to be focusing on targeting the new, more Omicron selective vaccines for the fall time, October or so, as opposed to trying to do a initial opening up of the current vaccines and then perhaps having another vaccine available in the fall. So we'll continue to follow that, but really important for all West Virginians, as the governor said, to stay up to date with your vaccination, and the vaccine calculator can certainly help that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Marsh. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Thank you very much, Governor. The recent special session obviously ended Friday, at least for now, without any results. I was wanting to get your reaction, ranging from surprised to bewildered about what happened last week, and also what you think the future is for the chambers upstairs, as in where do they go from here? What do you think about the future of the state and the bodies of those two chambers, and working with them as we work through the latter part of this year and head into 2023?
Well, Kenny, a lot of emotion from my standpoint, and I'm not going to perpetuate a food fight. I naturally disappointment. We had teed up $250 million, tax cut that basically was going to put $250 million back in the hands of all the hardworking West Virginians. And, I just can't, no matter what the circumstance may be, I just can't imagine that we, especially as Republicans, walked away from giving our people an incredibly big tax cut or putting money back in their pockets, because we surely believe that this is not our money, and there is a difference in philosophy on, what I think as far as, how personal income tax brings a lot of folks to the state, to how others think, in regard to, machinery and inventory or whatever. I am absolutely not opposed to some level of compromise. I would be all in favor of getting rid of the automobile tax or helping out, our senior citizens and all that kind of stuff without any question. I want to offer up this, and we should all think about this, is irregardless to us bickering and everything else, President Blair has probably either had surgery or is in surgery right now, having a hip replacement, and we all want to offer up our prayers that everything goes just great there. The long and the short of it is, sure, we'll continue to work together, and from my standpoint, work the best we possibly can together. And we do have a real opportunity. I mean, for crying out loud, it's amazing, the opportunity. Everybody seems to just want to take ownership of everything and run in all kinds of different directions with ego and all that. And in regard to the abortion issue, which is, well, it's surely as big, if not bigger. 50 years, this country has surely been changed, our footprint, and now our Supreme Court has spoken, and our laws are old and ancient, and they need modernized. Our head legal guy, our Attorney General, Patrick Morrissey, and Patrick is good as he can be, but he is, he's getting put behind the eight ball, and really, and he's advising us and everything without any question. We need work to be done, and so I believe that, all, I really believe that really and truly all the delegates should have a right to vote. All the senators should have a right to vote. They should all have voices, and we should all try to work together and respect one another, and just ending like we ended and whatever, and just walk away and really not have much accomplished. I think that's I don't think that's good. I just don't think it's good. So, we got work to do, and we're going to keep on working, and that's all I can say.
All right, thanks, Kenny. Next to Stephen Adams with Ogden Newspapers.
Yeah, Steve Adams of Ogden Newspapers here. A couple questions for you. First of all, just to kind of follow up on Kenny's question there, it would seem, based on your comments there, that you are willing to compromise to a certain extent. The special session, as you know, isn't over. It'll be called back, subject to the call of the chairs. So do you think, or certainly between now and whenever they come back, are you willing to get everybody around the table and possibly hammer out some sort of compromise that maybe, gives everybody a little bit of what they want on this? Also, in regards to the recent tax revenue numbers, it looks like most of the tax surplus for July was generated by coal and natural gas severance taxes. Both the prices of coal and natural gas are very high right now, generating a lot of revenue. So I wouldn't mind your comments on that. And finally, in regards to that, I had noticed that our rainy day fund has come down. I know this time last year we're celebrating a surplus there, but it would seem that the rainy day fund has taken a little bit of a hit, mostly due to the volatile nature of the stock market, inflation, recession fears, things of that nature. And I kind of wanted to get your comments on that. And you feel like we're still kind of a long ways away from triggering, perhaps trying to put more money into that. Thank you.
Okay, Stephen, as far as rainy day, what I really believe right now is, read the tea leaves. I mean, that's all there is to it. Mind the store. Do the prudent things. Do what you can do, but don't get crazy. Don't do things that are massive risk. That was my whole theme of what I was saying all along. Personal income tax, nobody on the planet can argue that that's not going to be the biggest growth driver. No way. No way on earth anybody can argue that. From the standpoint of doing something that actually layers in hundreds and hundreds, and I think Dave Hardy the last go around said $700 million of base building to the state's budget is risky. It's just risky. That's all there is to it. Can we all get together without any question? Can we all get together, get in a room, take a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this? I don't have the perfect answers. No way on earth do I have the perfect answers. But can we take a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and put it together? We absolutely should be able to do that. That is our obligation, and I am willing, as willing could ever possibly be. Now, but Stephen, and it's real, your question is so good. Just think about this just a second. The rainy day fund just maybe is shaking just a little teeny bit. And will it right itself? Probably. Will we end up having to put dollars in the rainy day fund? Probably. But what could happen? What could happen? Now, Stephen, let's just stay with this just 1 second. Because I really, now, this is right in my wheelhouse. Now, Nancy Pelosi supposedly just landed in Taiwan. And with all that being said, the Chinese are probably not very happy with that. Now, what happens if we get into some kind of, whatever it may be, we're raising the tariffs off the chart or whatever it may be, and the Chinese are just wound up as they can possibly be, and then they're pushing back on us and everything. What happens to what you just said as far as coal severance and on? I'll tell you exactly what happened. If we would cut off, or the Chinese would cut off the coal shipments that would be going to China, those would probably, a lot of those would be diverted maybe over to Europe. Prices would probably fall very significantly, very quickly. That's what I'm saying to you. Over and over, I say the same thing. For those that believe with just blinders on that we're going to have these surpluses forever and ever are making a big mistake. It's a high risk gamble. Absolutely. Do I hope and pray that what we'll do is we'll do things on the chessboard that make the surpluses continue to even grow. But we don't know, do we? And from the standpoint of your comment that coal prices are real high and gas prices are real high, I would say to you, Stephen, what have metallurgical prices done in the last 60 days? In the last 60 days, now get this, because this will take your breath. In the last 60 days, metallurgical coal prices have been as high as $555 a ton. And in the last 60 days, they have dropped, I think that the amount is $327 a ton. Drop. Right now, metallurgical prices in West Virginia, low-vol metallurgical prices in East Coast low-vol price, I think is $228. That's at the port. That's a metric ton. And when you convert it to a standard ton, you take some kind of discount, maybe a 5% discount off the index price, and take the freight out of it, you're coming back to a price at the mine site that many metallurgical coal mines will close, because the price FOB the mine in the rail car, and that's all producers can depend on, is probably going to be $135. Now, from a severance tax standpoint, first of all, your severance income on metallurgical coal has gone whoosh, straight down. And then you've got to even be concerned about the fact that in 60 days it's dropped like a rock. And on top of dropping like a rock, there'll be many metallurgical coal mines that will close now because they can't make it. They can't make it on that because the inflated value of everything from roof bolts to rock dust to everything under the sun has gone through the roof. And if they're mining a 30 or 32 or 40-inch seam of coal, they won't be able to make it. Now, so what I'm saying to you is just really simple. I'm saying the exact same thing, whether it be the rainy day fund and maybe a little bit of red flags going up to the drop in the severance tax on our metallurgical coal, to big time flags going up, to the issue with what's going on right now with the potential situation in China. Maybe little flags right now, but could be big time flags going up and indicators going up to be concerned. We need, with all in us, to absolutely mind a store and mind a store in the right way. That's what I'm here to do. And so last and not least, and I hate to have gone on as long as I have, but without any question, I stand ready to compromise. I stand ready to work. I welcome and welcome and welcome. You know, Stephen, I've said it 1,000 times. You know, I said it in briefings, and you can go back and find it, or I can supply it to you over and over, that we ought to all get around a table and work through our personal income tax and look at that. I said this is the way I've done everything in my life. On the first budget as your governor, you know, I think, you know, Brad at Metro News, you know, said that I was a mediator in chief or a marketer in chief, and I was going back and forth to room to room to room to room, trying to get the budget passed. You know, with all in me, that's what I've done my whole life. And so, without any question, nobody's got the perfect answers except one, and that's above. But with all that being said, I sure don't have the perfect answers. I'm surely willing to compromise and do whatever we need to do to try to get absolutely tax breaks to the people of West Virginia, but we got to do it in a mindful way. And the bottom line, you know, I thank everybody. You know, I ask for your prayers for, you know, President Blair. I extremely thank, you know, the great work, you know, from Roger Hanshaw and Chairman Householder and Amy Summers, and you know, whether it be Roger, Amy, or Eric, they've done a lot of really hard work, and they worked really hard, and so from the standpoint of, you know, our finance chair Eric Tarr and Craig Blair, everybody just needs to keep working. We all need to get across the finish line. We need to do it without throwing rocks at each other.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Next to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. This is probably a question best answered by General Hoyer. I know he's not on here today, but maybe somebody has some more details. General Hoyer had previously said we had our tabletop exercise planned for the first week of August. We're now there, so I was just wondering any details about the plans for that and what it'll entail. Thank you.
Charles, I'm going to have to pass, you know, on the details of that to General Hoyer when he gets back and everything. You know, he's not briefed me on the details of what's happened in regard to that and everything. But I appreciate the question, and we'll find out and get back to you, buddy. Thanks.
Yep, thanks, Charles. Next to Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Good morning, Governor, and everyone else. Governor, I wanted to follow up a little on the energy prices and so forth, because as you know, Senator Manchin has come under a lot of criticism he was going to oppose the big massive spending bill from the White House. I think they're now calling it the Inflation Reduction Act. It's no longer Build Back Better. That name went away. But as part of the deal, apparently, Senator Manchin has secured the White House support to reopen the Mountain Valley Pipeline, which is critical to getting West Virginia natural gas to Virginia and off to port and into the marketplace, and could potentially bring a lot of money into this state. What are your thoughts about this big, massive spending bill? And is it sometimes the thing where you have to just kind of hold your nose at the whole bill and say there's a couple of good items in here and for West Virginia, so therefore I don't like the thing, but I'm going to support it because it's got something in for our state?
Oh, Mark, I think it's, I think there's no question that there's some good, but at the same time, Mark, I think really and truly about our gas workers, our coal miners. I think how hard they work and how hard those families work and how much that they really depended on Senator Manchin, and a lot of them feel like that he's really stabbed them in the back. Now, I don't know every single detail of the plan and everything. I've not been briefed on every detail of the plan. I know that there's major concern for the Coal Association and folks, and there's a lot of unhappy folks out there right now. It's a tough job, and Senator Manchin has done a lot of work, and he's working hard, and I want the best relationship in the world with Joe, and I want him to be so successful it's off the chart. But all I can tell you, based on what I know right now, there's a lot of folks that are really upset, and so I love the fact that that maybe we can get some reprieve and some relief on the Mountain Valley Pipeline, and that would be a big plus, and so like I said, I want to stay positive and everything, but there's a lot of folks that a lot of folks are not very happy, but I know that Senator Manchin is working hard, and we want to just keep on working at it. That's all I know we can do.
All right, thanks, Mark. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, I appreciate the media. I appreciate all your comments and everything and questions, and I hope that I'm not surely dodging anything. I always try to answer your questions as best I possibly can. These experts that are on with us all the time, Dr. Marsh said something today. I wrote it down and everything. I hope everybody really heard. He said long COVID. Well, what does he mean by long COVID? It's basically the side effects to the organs of your body and everything that are, whether it be your lungs or it be your heart, your liver, your kidneys, whatever. He said, there's long side effects oftentimes from COVID. So with all that being said, I said this yesterday at Welch, at the Welch Hospital. I said, I don't like, no matter whom it is, no matter who it is, I don't like people criticizing the best efforts of our medical community, no matter who it is. Whether it be, Dr. Marsh, Dr. Fauci, I don't like anybody being criticized that are truly not playing politics and not, and I don't know Dr. Fauci at all, that if he's playing politics, then that's not going to work with me. But if he's truly trying, or Dr. Marsh is truly trying, or all those great people down at the Welch Hospital are truly trying, the bottom line to this pandemic is one thing. Nobody had a playbook, did we? Nobody had a playbook. No living person on this planet really knew what to do, because all of a sudden we hadn't had a pandemic here really for 100+ years. And so with all that being said, nobody knew what to do. Now, with all of that and everything, I thank President Trump so many times it's unbelievable, because just think about it. We got a vaccine in 7 to 9 months. Absolutely unheard of. Unheard of. You know, Operation Warp Speed, remember that? Sure, they probably made a mistake here and there, but for crying out loud, think of what we accomplished and what he accomplished in that one move. Absolutely. Dr. Marsh right now is telling us that the effects of COVID can absolutely, without any question, drag on and really hurt our heart or our lungs or our kidneys or whatever it may be. What's he telling us from that? He's telling us, for crying out loud, get vaccinated. Get your booster shot. Absolutely. Just getting COVID, you may think, well, it's not going to be anything and everything, but it could be really bad. It could have long, drawn-out effects and everything that could affect your brain, whatever it may be. Absolutely, without any question, get your vaccinations and get your booster shots. There's lots of folks that are hurting out there, whether they be in Kentucky or all these that we've lost from COVID, whether they be at Basin, you know, or wherever it may be. You know, a lot of people that are really hurting. Take time to say a little prayer for everybody. And thank you so much. That's all I got.